And welcome back to Summit Sunrise. I'm here with two very special guests in the studio this morning. We have Don Sahli and we also have Paul Cohen from the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery. And Paul happens to be, well, he's kind of like the puppet master behind what goes on at the Breck Fine Art Gallery.
So that makes me the puppet, I guess.
Not so much the puppet. I would say you are the painter,
the painting
Mr.
puppet. Well,
Mr.
no.
Sahli. Now, Don, you are here in town just for the weekend.
Yes.
And you're doing something very special that the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery does on a regular basis, but you happen to be one of the first guys to ever do it.
Right. I call it an artist in residence or a painter in residence. And a few years back, I was having a show, and it's like, well, you know, I have all my painter stuff in the car, and I'm a little uncomfortable just sort of standing here, you know, hi, how are you, where are you from? So I set my easel up in the gallery, and I actually painted a scene in the gallery, you know, paintings on the wall and a chair.
Oh, wow.
And by the end of the evening, it sold.
Yeah.
You know, it was wet and sold, and Paul came over and said, you know, maybe
we should do
this again.
People like this.
And we've done it over the years, and it's really just an opportunity for people to come in and meet the artist behind the painting. The pieces that I brought in are studies that I'll be working off of to develop the larger piece.
Okay.
And so it's kind of beginning to finish. You get to see how it happens.
And we're looking at, well, we have a few other pictures that we'll show you here shortly of some of Don's work. But when you say that these are studies, how long does it take you to put something like this together?
Well, it really happens quite quickly out on location. Just driving in this morning, the light was just beginning to hit the, you know, the range, and it was just so beautiful and so subtle. But it only lasts 5, 10, 15 minutes. So when you're out painting, you really don't have much time, but maybe a couple of hours at the most. The biggest problem is the weather. It's cold.
It is cold.
You know, when you ski or cross country ski, you're moving and you're building up some BTUs, and painting, you're just sort of standing there, and it's so you get in and you get out.
Now, Don, you have this very unique way of creating some of your pieces, and I guess plein air is how you guys describe this. So
plein air.
Can we discuss exactly what that is for people that have no clue what we're talking about?
It's really working outside. It's a old French term meaning out in the plein air. And you know, back in the 1870s, you know, those French Impressionists, they were like the first guys that began to go outside and paint. And my tradition continues that. My teacher was a Russian painter. His name was Sergei Bongart, and I was his last apprentice as a young man. And so it was a great opportunity to learn. And Russian painting is about alla prima painting, or wet into wet, very painterly, very emotional, very much an emotional response with color. And so imagine being outdoors, being amazed by the beauty of outdoors and trying to capture it. And you have to do it real quick. You know, it's hit or miss.
Wow.
And so when you hit it, you feel real good, and then from these studies, I develop a large piece. See, here I am working outdoors. And it was 25 below zero this morning.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, you know, oh my.
Wow.
Oh my, the paints aren't working the way they normally do.
I don't really do that just a whole lot, because, you know, when it goes below zero, it's kind of dangerous. But
that is some dedication to your work, and I'm sure that adds a whole lot of different elements that most people don't encounter when they're actually creating pieces.
It really does. When you're under that stress or duress, you react to it. But then sometimes, like this piece right here, you know, it's the most beautiful fall day you've ever experienced, and painting outdoors is a joy. You know, it's magnificent.
You know, something that I thought was really interesting, you know, kind of researching a little bit about you, is that I think a lot of people, or it seems that many artists have their kind of niche, and they're very comfortable with staying there and doing those pieces in that kind of continuation, I guess. But Don, that's not really your thing.
Yeah, there's nothing really wrong with being known for a certain thing. My problem is I'm known for doing too many things. From
all over
Let's talk to the marketer here. It's just like, you know, if he just painted the same snow scene over and over and over, we'd you know. But
I think what it is with Don is I mean, he's Russian trained and he's carrying on that genre. If you go back through his teacher, he's 5 in line from the fountainhead of modern Russian Impressionism, Eli Repin. So his legacy is incredible. And we attach that with his biography, and we tell people, you may not know these names, Bongard, Kotov, Fetchik, and Repin, but go and Google them and you'll learn just why Don has the skills he's done. And while he says it takes a few hours out in the plein air, it's 30 plus years of dedication that have brought him to this level.
I forgot to mention that 30-year thing.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
There's a book out now that talks about the 10,000 hours that you need to devote to get to the place where you can get it done, you know.
Wow.
And you put 10,000 hours or 30 years into it, and it's really quite remarkable. And having painted for 30 years, it's like, well, don't you ever get tired of it or bored of it? And it's just like, well, it's just a whole nother level. It's a whole nother, you have whole other issues. A lot of it is because I've done it for this long, I can finally make a start, make a beginning, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you know, we artists say those things.
It's interesting, in the past, Don loves to ski. We've skied together very often, and we'll get up on the mountain, and then he'll get up there and take his ski boots off and just paint like the back bowls of Vale or up here in Breckenridge. One year we had planned with RSN and the camera crew, we were going to go to the top of Imperial and then hike to the very top and set up and get footage up there. And we all arrived at like 8 o'clock. That's Don at the back bowls of Vale there. We all arrived at 8 o'clock at the gallery. You couldn't see 5 feet from it. It was dumping snow.
No.
So that fell through, but we all went off and had a great day skiing. we just said, okay, we'll just run footage from the gallery, you know. So
It was a business opportunity.
it was
sure.
It was great.
But it's good. It's good testing the conditions, even though they may not be perfect for getting what you want. But obviously, you know, Don, you're pushing the limits constantly, and you have this very unique style of having that, you know, it's almost like you have this it's kind of like this classic background that is also really edgy at the same time.
Well, it's true, you know, it's something very, very old and academic, but you know, but where I'm also alive here in 2011 and very contemporary. My use of color, my use of texture, brushwork, it gets a little radical sometimes. So it's like pressing the envelope. I'm a painter, and I want to. That's what I do. I use paint as a tool, and so sometimes it gets a little crazy. Now in the gallery, I try to tone it down, not throw it around too much.
Not too much, maybe a little bit.
They're always wanting me to put a tarp down. And it's like, no, I just can't do that. I can't. You know, that's.
You get memories. Oh yes, Sahli was here.
Like,
if it happens, it happens.
So Don, you'll be up here in the gallery when?
Yes. The times are from 4 to 8 for Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
I'll probably be in before that, getting set up, and but I have this ability to paint and to talk and say hello, and it's sometimes some interesting things happen.
And educate. I mean, people. Don is a teacher. Right? He's carrying on that legacy that he acquired from Sergei and from the Russians before him. And so for him to not share what he's doing it's just not natural. It just does not happen. So it's a great thing. And the kids come in and love it. The families come in and love it. And a lot of his collectors will be back in this weekend to watch it. One of his, and that also is not just one of his collectors, but one of his students as well, who's taken his workshops many, many times. Don does great workshops, plein air, and also in his studio down there in Evergreen.
Wow. So today and tomorrow from 4 to 8 p.m. you can actually meet Don and also see how he works in person. It's this absolutely incredible experience. I'm really glad you started this because I really enjoy them.
Just sitting here thinking about it, it's just like I'm getting excited. You know, it's going to be great.
Good. Well, so. You know, it's definitely something that you know, we have a lot of different things you can do up here in the high country, and a lot of really rich experiences that you get to have with your entire family. But this is one of those things that you definitely want to put on your list. It's totally free. You can
refreshments, hot chocolate, the whole thing.
I mean,
but here's the nice thing too. We make it from 4 to 8 because we know everyone's up here to ski and enjoy the winter, you know, activities outside. But it gives them a chance to do that, get back, have a hot tub, and then come on down and relax either before or on their way to dinner or even after dinner as well. So bring the whole family in. We're right on the corner of South Main and South Park at 421 South Main, and we're there pretty late. We're open from 10 till late every day, but The show's officially 4 to 8. Yeah.
Well, stop on in. It's going to be. I think, you know, if I were to make a list of the top 10 things you had to do while you were here in Summit County, this would absolutely make it.
Ashley's top 10.
That's right. Ashley's top 10. This would probably be in my top 5, to be honest. So make sure you check it out while you're here in town. And you guys, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
It was great. Nice.
Always a pleasure having you here.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more Summit Sunrise. So don't go away.